I want you to write it as a fraction. And then I also want you to write it like this. Now, if it's a decimal, we have to change it to a whole number, right? So we're going to move the decimal 2 times. And then inside this one, there's a decimal there, so we move it 2 times. 1, 2. What do we do with these empty spaces? So we got to put a 0 and a 0. So now it's 600. So our question is, can 25 go into 6? No. Can 25 go into 60? How many times? Oops. 25 times 1 is 25. So use your calculator or use your iPad. 20 times 2 is 50. 25 times 3 is 75. So 3 is too much. So we're going to use 2. So we put a 2 here. 25 times 2 is 50. Subtract 0. 6 minus 5 is 1. Bring that down. Now it's 25 goes into 100. Well, 25 times 3 is 75. Let's try 25 times 4. 25 times 4 is 100. Perfect. 25 times 4 is 100. So our answer is 24. 2, 78.74 divided by 12.7. So I want you to write it as a fraction too. And then over here, divided by 12.7. So let's move our decimals. 1 over, so that becomes 127. 1 over becomes 7874, and the decimal is right here. So can 127 go into 7? No. Into 78? No. Into 787? Yes. But how many times? Well, calculator. 127 times 3. Dot. So, oh yeah, need to turn lights on. 127 times 3 is 381. And then 127 times 4 is 508. Oops, maybe one more time. 127 times 5 is 635. 127 times 5 is 635. Let's try one more time. 127 times 6. 127 times 6 is 662. Oh yeah, so 6. How about one more time? 127 times 7 is 889. That's too much. So we're going to use 6. So we're going to put a 6 right here. And 6 times 127 is 762. Subtract. 7 minus 2 is 5. 8 minus 2 is 8 minus 6 is 2. What do we do next? The decimal, we're going to bring it up. And we're going to bring the 4 here. 127 goes into 254 how many times? Well, it's not 3, so let's try 2. And 127 times 2 is 254 exactly. So that's nice. So the answer is 6.2. 734.8 divided by negative 1.67. It's a positive divided by negative, so I can go ahead and do this. I know my answer is going to be negative. Write it as a fraction. And then over here, 734.8 divided by negative 1.67. Let's move some decimals. 1, 2. It's going to be negative 1. Oops, sorry. Negative 167. Inside we move 2 times. 1, 2. So it's 7, 3, 4, 8. And then in this empty space, we put it here. 167 going to 7? No. Into 73? No. Into 734? Yes. Let's try times 5. 167 times 5. That's 835. Too much. Let's try 167 times 4. 668. All right, so that's okay. So we're going to use 4. I'm going to put a 4 right here. And that's going to give us 668. Subtract. let's see, we need to borrow, right? So 7 becomes a 6, this becomes 13, which has become 12, and that becomes 14. 14 minus 8 is 6, 12 minus 6 is 6. Now we bring out the 8. 167 goes into 68 how many times? Well, we know the answer. Look at that. 167 times 4, so I'm going to put a 4 here. So we're going to put 6, 6, 8, and that's going to be a 0. We're still not finished because we have to bring this 0 down. How many times can 167 go into 0? How many times? 0, right? They don't, so we put a 0. So my answer is going to be negative 440. Okay? Five, 6, 5, 2, 5 divided by 0.85. Well, so let's write it as a fraction. Bit. 525 divided by 0.85. So anytime we have a decimal, we on the numerator, sorry. So 5, 6. Why can't I say this? 525 divided by 0.85. So let's move the decimal 2 over 1, 2. That becomes 85. And then inside, we move it 2 times. 1, 2. So it's going to be 5, 6, 5, 2, and 5 tenths. Okay. So does 85 go into 5? No. Does 85... Hang on a second. So, can 85 go into 5? No. Can 85 go into 56? No. Can 85 go into 565? Yes. So let's try 85 times, I don't know, let's try 6. 85 times 6 is 510. So that's okay. Let's try 7. 85 times 7. Well, 85 times 7 is 595. Too much. So we're going to use 6. So 6 goes right here. That's going to give us 510. 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 1 is 5 again. Bring the 2 down. How many times can 85 go into 552? Well, 85, 6 times? Yeah. 510, right? 7 times? No, it's too much. So we're going to do 6 again. That's going to give us 510. 2 minus 0 is 2. 5 minus 1 is 4. And then we're going to bring that 5 down. How many times can 85 go into 425? Well, let's try 5 times. 85 times 5. So 85 times 5 is, look at that, 425. Oops, I forgot to put a decimal up, right? That decimal has to go up. So 85 goes into 425 5 times. Final answer, positive divided by positive is a positive, so we get 66.5. 1 second, please. Battery. So the quotient here is 65.5. Battery. And then we're going to part B. We're on part B right now, number 5. 44.22 divided by negative 6.7. It's a positive divided by a negative, so it's going to give me a negative. I can get that. Let's write that as a fraction. Let's write that. I don't know what. I don't even. Well, 44.22 is our dividend, and our divisor 6.7. We're going to move the decimal 1 over, so that's going to become 67, or negative 67. Inside, we're moving that decimal 1 over, and that's going to be 442 and 2 tenths, or 0.2. 67 going to 4? No. Can 67 go into 44? No. Can 67 go into 442? Yes. How many times? Let's try 6 times. So 67 times 6 is 402. Let's try 67 times 7. It's going to be 469. Too much. I'm going to use 6. It's 402. Subtract 2 minus 2 is 0. 4 minus 0 is 4. We're going to bring that decimal up here, and the 2 is going to come down here. So 402, look at that. 67 goes to 402. We already know 6 times, so we're going to put a 6. That's going to give us 402, and that no remainder. So the answer is a positive divided by negative is a negative 6.6. 6, negative 6.46 divided by 0.04. It's negative divided by a positive, so it's going to be a negative answer, right? So my answer is going to be negative. 6.46 divided by 0.04. Let's move the decimal. 1, 2 becomes 4. 1, 2 becomes 6, 4, 6. Can 4 go into 6? Yes. How many times? 1 time. 4 times 1 is 4. Subtract. We get a 2 here. Bring the 4 down. Can 4 go into 24? This one is easy, right? 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. So 6, we can put over here. 4 times 6 is 24. 0. Let's bring down the 6. Can 4 go into 6? Yeah. How many times? It's only 1 time. So we put a bit 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. Can we continue? Remember, we can add a decimal. If I add a decimal, I put a decimal over here, and I can put a 0. 4, sorry, bring the 0 down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. Right, so now we have no remainder, no sobró nada, no answer. So it's 161.5. Okay. Number 6. Is that number 6? What did I just do? That was number 6. So that was part B, right? So now next section, part C. The part C. There were quite a few questions, but I want you to do them because it's just practice. So 39.984 divided by negative 5.1. So that 984 divided by 5.1, negative, sorry, and then 39.984. We're going to divide that by negative 5.1. So step 1, the decimal. So that becomes negative 51. This decimal moves 1 over, right? So it's 399.84. 51 goes into 3? No. 51 goes to 39? No. Can 51 goes into 399? Yes. How many times? Well, let's try 51 times 8. Well, 51 times 8 is going to be 408. So, nah, that's too much. Let's try 51 times 7. And 51 times 7 is going to be 7,357. So times 7 is okay. 7 goes here. 3, 5, 7. 9 minus 7 is 2. 9 minus 5 is 4. I'm going to bring the 8 down. Again, don't forget to put that decimal up here. 51 goes into 428. Well, it's going to be 8 times, but let me try 9 just to see what happens. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 5 is 459. It's too much. So I'm going to use 8. So that's 408. Let's subtract. 8 minus 8 is 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. And bring the 4 down. How many times can 51 go into 204? Let's try 51 times 4. 51 times 4 is 204. So that works. So we're going to put a 4 here. 4 times 51. So if you think about it, 51, right? 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. Nice. 204. So we write 204. Subtract. And we have 0. No remainder. So the quotient is negative 7.85. 84 because a positive divided by negative is a negative. 355.94 divided by 9. What is 4.81. It's a positive divided by positive. 355.94, 4.81. So 355.94 divided by 4.81. Move the decimal 2 over. 1, 2. Becomes 481. Move the decimal 2 over. 1, 2. And that's going to become 35,594. 481 can go into 3? No. Can go into 35? No. Can you go into 355? No. Can you go into 3,559? Yes. How many times? Ugh. Let's see. 481 times 7. Let's that. So use your calculator. 481 times 7. Oops. 41 times 7 is 3,367. Let's try one higher. 41 times 8. 41 times 8 is 3848. So of course we want to use 7 because this one is too much. So let me just erase this line here. And we're going to do 8 times. I'll put the 8 right here. And 8 times 481 is 3,848. We're going to subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. 1. Oops, sorry. Did I do 8 times? It's supposed to be 7. Sorry. 7 times. Which is 3,367. Subtract. 9 and 7 is 2. A little borrowing here, right? So 5 becomes 4. This becomes 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. 4 minus 3 is 1. What do we do now? We bring the 4 down. 481. How many times can it go into 1,924? Let me try 4. 481 times 4 is 1,924. So we're good here. 4 times 1, 9, 2, 4. There we go. This is negative 96 divided by 1.28. So it's a negative divided by a positive. So my answer is negative something. So it's negative 96, right? Our dividend. And then our divisor is going to be 1.28. Move this 2 over. 1, 2. So let's get 128. Is there a decimal here? 96. 96. There's no. There's a decimal right here at the end. And then we're going to move it once and twice. So inside, we're going to put 0 and a 0. So it's going to be negative 9,600. Okay. 128, does it go in 9? No. Does it go into 96? No. Does it go into 960? Yes. Let's try 198 times 6. 128 times 6. 120 times 6 is 768. Let's try one more. 128 times 7 is 896. So that's going to be our number. So 128 times 8 is 1,024. So 1,024 is too much. We're going to use this number right here. So we put a 7 right here on 960. That's 896. So let's subtract. 8, that becomes 16, which is going to be 15. And then 10 minus 6 is 4. 15 minus 9 is 6. And what is that? 8 minus 8 is 0. So next step, bring the 0 down. 128 goes into 640. How many times? Let's try 4 times. 128 times 4 is 512. Now, just going to check out what 128 times 5 is. 128 times 5 is 640. Ooh. So that's the number we want. So I'm going to put a 5. 128 times 5 is 640. Subtract. We get 0. $34.146 divided by 6.3. 34.146 divided by 6.3. And I just write it down. 34.146 divided by 6.3. Move the decimal 1 over. That's going to be 63 now. We're going to move the decimal 1 over. It's going to be 341 and 46 hundredths. 63, does it go in 3? No. Does it go in 34? No. Does it go in 341? Yes. How many times? We're going to try 5 times. 63, 63 times 5 is 315. Okay, 6 is going to be too much. So now just put it over here. That's going to be 378. It's too much. So we're going to do 5 times. I'll put the 5 right here. And we're going to go 315. 4 becomes a 3. This is 11 minus 5 is 6. 3 minus 1 is 2. There's a decimal over here. Don't forget to bring it up. Bring the 4 down. 63 goes into 64. I don't know. Let's try 4 times. Is that too much? That's, what the heck? 63 times 4. It's 252. 3 is 252, which is just enough. So we're going to use a 4 over here. It's going to give us 252. Subtract 4 minus 2 is 2, 1, and then 6. 63 going to 126, and you can tell it's 2 times, right? Because 63 times 2 is 126, exactly. And that's going to be a 0. Okay, so final answer is it's a positive divided by a positive, so my answer is positive, and the answer is 5.42. Where am I? 21.384 divided by negative 2.4, so my answer is going to be negative. 21.384 divided by negative 2.4. We're going to move the decimal 1 over, so it's going to be 24. Move the decimal 1 over, that's going to be 213.84. And then as a fraction, 21.384 divided by negative 2.4. Okay, now we're ready to divide. 24 goes into 2? No. Going to 21? No. Does it go into 213? Yes. So let's try 6 times. 24 times 6 is 144. Really? What is wrong with me? (24 times 8). Sorry, I don't know why I tried 6. 24 times 8 is 192. That's better. 24 times 9, it's going to be too much, but nevertheless, I just want to have that number. 24 times 9 is 216, just a little too much, so we're going to use this. 8, 192. Borrow becomes 1, 11 becomes down, becomes 11. 3 minus 2 is 1, 11 minus 9 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0, that's okay. Take this decimal, put it up here too. Bring the 8 down. 224 goes into 218. How many times? Well, 9 times. Look, it's 216, right? So we can put a 9. That's enough. 216. That's 8 minus 6 is 2. And then we're going to bring the 4 down. And 24 going to 24. How many times? 1 time. That's easy. Final answer, negative 8.91. Okay, so again, it's just a matter of you getting used to the procedure. Okay, so once you get that and you understand, it's still, everything is pretty much the same. 15 divided by 0.4. 15 divided by 0.4. This one's a little bit simpler. Move the decimal 1 over. Becomes 4. There's no decimal, so let's put a decimal. We're going to move 1 over. So it's going to, inside, instead of 15, it's going to be 150. 4 goes to 1? No. 4 goes to 15, yes. 4 goes to 15 3 times. Okay, remember 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 is too much, so no. I'll use this one. 4 times 3 is 12. Subtract. 5 minus 3 is 3. Bring the 0 down. Can 4 go into 30? Yes, 4 going to 30. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 8 is 32. Too much, so I'm going to use the 7. 4 times 7, which is 28. Minus, and then borrow. 10 minus 8 is 2. So we're not going to stop here. So remember, we can continue. If we want to continue, we have to add a decimal. If we add a decimal, we can put a 0. So if we put a decimal here, make sure you put a decimal up here. Bring the 0 down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 4 times 5, 20. Answer is positive, and the answer is 37.4. 338.742 divided by 0.54. So that's going to give us, hang on a second, 338.742 divided by 0.54. The number is a little bit bigger. Oh, yeah. So it's positive, positive, good. So this moves, right? The decimal moves over 1, 2. And then here it's going to move over 2 times, 1, 2. It's going to be 33874.2. 54 going to 3? No. 33? No. 338 right here? Yes. How many times? So it looks like 7. So 54 times 7 is 378. Oops, that was wrong. 54 times 6, 24, 324. Right? And we can use 6 times. So 54 times 6. There's 6 right here. 24, carry the 2, 324. Subtract 8 minus 4 is 4, 3 minus 2 is 1, and the 7 comes down. Can 54 go into 147? Yeah. How many times? It's going to be 2 times. 54 times 2 is 108. If you do 54 times 3, you're going to get 162. So that's too much. So we want the 2. 108. Subtract, that becomes a 3, 17, 9, 39. Bring down the 4. 54 goes into 394. Ugh. 7 times, because 8 times can be too much. 54 times 8. 32, 4, 442 is too much. So we're going to use the 7. 378. I'm going to borrow a little bit. That becomes an 8. 14 minus 8 is 6. 8 minus 7 is 1. And 2 comes down. 54. And then we already know the answer. How many times can 54 go into 162? 3 times. So we're going to put 3 here. And final answer is 627.3. 401.598 divided by negative, what is that, 0.81? So 401.598 and negative 0.81. Move the decimal 1, 2. So that's going to be negative 81 on my dividend. Sorry, my divisor. And then my dividend, I'll move this 2 over. Uno, dos. It's 40159.8. So 81 goes into 400. Into 4? No. 40? No. 41? Yes. How many times? It would be 4. 81 times 4 is 324. 81 times 5 is going to be 405. Too much, so we're going to use 4. 324. Do a little borrowing here. 3, 10, 9, 11. 11 minus 4 is 7. 9 minus 2 is 7. Bring the 5 down. 81 goes into 775. Let's try 9 times. 9 times is 727. Okay, so we're going to put 9 over here. Because 10 is too much. 7, 2, 7. Borrow. 7 becomes a 6. 15 minus 7 is 8. 6 minus 2 is 4. And comes down to 9. So, 81 can goes into 489. How many times? Not 5. Can 8 by 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 8 is 486. Yeah, we can do 6 times. 46. We're going to have 30 left over. Sorry, 3 left over. 8 comes down. Let's put a decimal up here so we don't forget. Can 81 go into 38? No, we cannot, so we're going to put a 0. Then we're going to add a 0 here. Come and bring that down. Can 81 go into 380? Oops. Yeah, let's see, 380. So 401 is going to give us, what am I missing here? Did I do something wrong? Yeah, apparently I did. What did I do wrong? Yeah, I did something wrong here, guys. Sorry. Let me start from the beginning. So 81, right? We move the decimal 2 over. And then inside is 401, move the decimal 2 over, 59.8. Okay, all right, 598 divided by 0.8. So it's 4 times here, like that was correct, that was okay. 324, borrow 3, 0 is 10, becomes a 9, that's 11. 11 minus 4 is 7, 9 minus 2 is 7. Go down to 5. So this one's going to be 9, so far so good. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 8 is 7. 729. Subtract. 7 becomes a 6, and this becomes a 15. 15 minus 9 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. Bring down the 9. And this is going to be again, oh, not again, this is going to be 5 times. So 81 times 5 is 405. I'll put 5 over here. 405. 6 minus 0 is 6, 9 minus 5 is 4, and then bring down the 8. 648. Let's bring the decimal here. How many times can 81 go into 648? It's 8 times. 81 times 8 is 648. And that's our answer. 648. 0 remainder. Negative, sorry, 495.8. Next question. 166.17 divided by negative 0.29. So 166.17, sorry, divided by negative 0.29. So let's move the decimals, 1, 2. And over here, I think I forgot to do that in the previous question. So move it 2 over, it becomes negative 29. Move this 2 over, it becomes 16,617. The decimal is right here, if you need it. 29 goes into 1? No. 29 goes to 16? No. 29 into 166? Yes, about 5 times. Let's see what 29 times 5 is. 29 times 5. Sorry. It's 145. That's going to be enough. So I'm going to put a 5 over here. Let me show you. 29 times 6 is 174. So that's too much. Let's use 5. 145. 6 minus 5 is 1. 6 minus 4 is 2. Let's bring the 1 down. And 29 goes into 211. 29 times 6. Let's see how that works. It's 174. 29 times 7, just to show you, is 203. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, that works. 29 times 7 works. So over here, and 29 times 8 is 232. That's too much. So we'll put a 7 over here. So that gets 203. We're going to subtract. That borrows becomes a 0. That becomes 11. 11 minus 3 is 8. 7 comes down. 29 goes into 87. 29 times 3, it's 87. So that one is exactly an exact number here. So 29 times 3 is 87. Subtract and 0. And that's it. So negative, don't forget, because a positive divided by negative. Negative 573. And then, I don't know what I just did. 106, 167. Okay, so number 10 at the bottom. Number 10. We have 40 times 1.8. Again, sorry. 40, and you can use a calculator for it. 40 times 1.8 divided by 0.9 times 0.25. So we have multiplication, we have division, and we have multiplication. So the first thing we're going to do is the parentheses here. So 1.8 divided by 0.9. Move the decimal 1 over, becomes a 9. Move the decimal 1 over, becomes 18. 18 divided by 9. Well, can 9 go into 1? No. Can 9 go into 18? Yes. 2 times. So now it becomes 40 times, this becomes 2 times 0.25. Well, let's do this first. What's 40 times 2? Well, 40 times 2 is easy. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 40 is 2 times 4 is 8. So we got 80 times 0.25. Eventually you will have a calculator, but right now I want you to just focus on this. So 80 and then times 0.25. 80 times 0.25. So let's go through the base. So here, 0 decimals. Here, 2 decimals. So the total is 2 decimals. So my answer has to have 2 decimals. 5 times 0. 5 times 8 is 40. We move 1 over. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 16. You don't have to do the last 0, but if you want to, you can. So before I do it, I put 2 zeros. 0 times 0. 0 times 8, right? So you see it's not necessary to do this line. 0, 0, 10, carry the 1, 2. How many decimal places? 2. 1, 2. Put a decimal right here. So what's my answer? 20. 11. 32.4 divided by 6.75 minus 2.9 minus 4.8. So, first thing we have to divide these two. So let's divide 32.4 divided by 6.75. Move the decimal 1, 2 over, so we get 675. Here I move it 2 over, 1 and 2. So it's 3, 2, 4, and what do I do here with the empty space? I put a 0. 675, does it go into 3? No. Does it go into 2? No. Does it go into 324? No. Does it go into 3,240? Yes. How many times? So use a calculator. Times, I'm going to guess 5. 675 times 5 is 300. 3,375, sorry. 675 times 4, let's see what that is. 675 times 4 is 2,700. So 5 is too much, we have to use 4. So we put a 4 right here. It's going to be 2,700. 0, 4, let's do borrow here. 2, 12 minus 4 is 5, 12 minus 7 is 5, and we're going to bring 12 minus 7 is 5, and then we're gonna add a 0. We're gonna continue, sorry. Continue, put a decimal on top, add a 0, and then let's bring that down. 5,400. Can 675 go into 5,400? Well, 675 times, let's try 8. I don't think so. Well, let's try 675 times 8 is, look at that, 5,400. Good. So 675, we're going to put an 8 here, equals 5,400. That's 0. So this becomes 4.8. And then we do minus 2.9, minus 4.8. So the rest is pretty simple. So now Now do it. If you want to change, well, you don't have to change it. So 4.8 minus 2.9 is 4.8 minus 2.9. Decimal on the decimal. Let's borrow. 18 minus 9 is 9. 3 minus 2 is 1. So this is 1.9. 1.9 minus 4.8. This one you might change it to an addition. 1.9 plus negative 4.8. Are they friends? No, they're not friends. Is my answer positive or negative? Negative. Well, let's see what the answer is. So I'm going to do 4.8 minus 1.9. Decimal comes down. 3. 18 minus 9 is 9. 3 minus 1 is 2. So the answer is negative 2.9. 12. 4.4 plus, where are my glasses? 2.7 minus 6.5 divided by 0.4, divided by 0.4 plus 0.6. So first we have to do this guy right here. So 4.4 plus, let's do 6, so 2.7 minus 6.5. Change it to addition, 2.7. Subtraction becomes addition, and this becomes the opposite. Who's going to win? The positive negatives? Negatives, right? So how much? Well, let's do 6.5 minus 2.7. Borrow. 15 minus 7 is 8. 5 minus 2 is 3. So it's negative 3.8. So let me put here negative 3.8 divided by 0.4 plus 0.6. Now, look at order of operations. What do we do first? First, we do grouping. We're done. Next, we do exponents. There's no exponents. Then we do multiplication or division. Do you see multiplication or division? Yeah, there's one right here. So 4.4 plus, let's forget about that, plus 0.6, let's forget about that. Let's do this division right here. Negative 3.8 divided by 0.4. Move the decimal 1 over, becomes a 4. Move the decimal 1 over, becomes 3.8, right? So make a decimal from here to here, becomes 38. 4 goes to 3? No. 4 goes to 38? Yes. 9 times, which is 36. Minus. Can we continue? Yeah, we can continue. We can add a decimal here. We're going to add a decimal on top, and we put a 0. Bring that down. Can 4 go into 20 now? Yeah, it can. 5 times. So the answer is going to be, well, first of all, remember, it was a negative divided by a positive. So it's going to be a negative what? Negative 9.5. All right, so now it becomes a little bit easier. Let's do these two. Who's going to win, the positives or the negatives? It's going to be negative, right? Because they're not friends here, first of all. So 9.5 minus 4.4. It's going to be negative 4.1. Plus 0.6. Again, who's going to win, negatives or positives? It's going to be negative. So last one, 4.1, 0.6. Let's subtract. 4 becomes a 3. That becomes 11. 11 minus 6 is 5. And 3 minus 0 is 3. Final answer, negative 3.5. 6.25 times 3.6 divided by 1.25 divided by 3. So remember your order of operations. First one is grouping. Do we have any parentheses, brackets, braces? No. Exponents. Do we have any exponents? No. Now we have multiplication or division. Do you see multiplication, division? Yeah, I see multiplication, I see division, I see division. So which one comes first? Well, from left, de la izquierda, a la derecha, we're going to look. So the first thing is going to be these two guys here. Okay, we're going to multiply 6.25 times 3.6. 6 times 5 is 30, 12, 15, code 1, 37. We're going to add a 0, Ponetong 0, right? We put a 0 and then we multiply. 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 2 is 6, carry 1, 7, 3 times 6 is 18. 0, 10, 15, 12, 22. Now, I forgot, this has 2 decimal places, this has 1 decimal place. My answer is going to have 3 decimal places. So where do I put the decimal? You put it right here. So the answer is 22.5. These 2 zeros, I don't need. Okay, so I can cross that out. So the answer is 22.5. So now I have 22.5 divided by 1.25 divided by 3. So now again, I'm going to look from left to right, and we're going to do this first now. So 22.5 divided by 1.25. We're going to move the decimal 2 over, 1, 2. Now move this decimal 2 over, 1, 2. So we put a 0 there. So it's 2,250 now divided by 125. So 125 goes into 2, no, to 22, no, to 25. Yes, but 1 time. Subtract 0, 0, 1, and then bring the 0. 125 goes into 1,000 8 times, which is exactly 1,000. So 125 divided by 125 is 18. So this whole thing here becomes 18. Now 18 divided by 3, that's the easy part. And final answer is 6. 2.3 plus 4.2 times 1.32 times 5 plus 0.7. I think that's what it says. So, grouping? No. Exponent? No. Is there multiplication or division? Yes, there's right here. I'm sorry. Sorry. What am I doing? So there's a grouping. Yes, there is. We have to do the parentheses here first. So 2.3 stays plus. Let's gonna do this first. Okay, and then times 5 plus 0.7. So what's 4.2 times 132? So 1.32 times 4.2. 462, right? And then we're gonna put a put 0, and then we do the 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry 1, 5. 4, 4, 5, 5. Where do we put the decimal? I forgot. There's 2 decimals. This one has 1 decimal, so total is 3 decimals. So my answer should have 3 decimals, which is going to be right here. So that equals to 5.544. Now, let me put that G over here. Grouping, done. Exponent, no. Multiplication or division, yeah. There's a multiplication right here, guys. So we got to do that. So 2.3 plus whatever this is plus 0.7. So let's multiply 5. Let me get this. 4.2. So 5.544 times 5, right? Times 5. So there's 3 decimal places here. There's 0 decimal places here. So my answer is going to have 3 decimal places. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry 2. 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 2 is 22. Carry 2 again. 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 2 is 27. And again, 27. My answer is going to have 3 decimal places. 1, 2, 3. 27.720. But that 0 we can take away. 27.72 is our answer. Now, guys, just add. So 2.3, 27.72 plus 0.7. Line up the decimals, and then in these empty spaces, we can put a 0 and a 0. right? So just adding. When we can add, we can do it like this. Add all of them together. So 2, 17, 10, 3. That's what I got, I think. Then negative 7.2 times 0.9 plus 3.9 plus 6.48. So that's not that bad. So first, grouping, yes, we have to do these first. So let's do negative times a positive is a negative. And then 7.2 times 0.9. 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place. So there's 2 decimal places. 9 times 2 is 18, carry 1. 9 times 7 is 63, plus 1 is 64. Then we add a 0. Well, we don't, I don't know why. So next line will be a 0, and you're obviously going to put a 0. So 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 7 is 0. So notice that we don't need to do the zeros, right? We don't need to do it, but yeah. 8, 4, 6. Where did the decimal go? Right here, because I need 2 decimal places. So the answer to this is 6.48 negative. We're going to do plus 3.9. So let's do that first. Who's going to win? Negative, positive? Negative. Why? Because right, the absolute value is greater. So let's subtract. Put a 0 over here. 8 minus 0 is 0. 8 minus 0 is 8. That's 6 becomes a 5. 14 minus 9 is it's 5. Bring the decimal down. 5 minus 3 is 2. Uh-oh. We get negative 2.58. Why is my battery dying? Okay, and then don't forget our last part. Right, so we took care of this guy. Now we got to do plus 6.48. So let me write that. We have to write it down here. So these two is equal to that. So again, we have a negative plus a positive. Who's going to win, right? They're not friends. So the positive is going to win because there's bigger absolute value. So let's find the difference. 6.48 minus 2.58. 8 minus 8 is 0. We'll bar in here. 14 minus 5 is 9. Bring the decimal down. 5 minus 2 is 3. Final answer, positive 3.90 or just 3. And I think we're done.